Absolutely.
And I pointed this out, and look, this team wasn't supposed to have a margin of error.
Right.
Okay, in terms of the offseason expectations. But when you've done this as long as I have done this, a long time, I've done a lot of seasons, football, basketball, and more often than not, when I've talked about tiny margins of error, I've talked about basketball. I know. Okay? I've sat there right in front of me. Okay? All these games over these years. I know when you have a small margin of error. And when you have a small margin of error, right, a lot of things have to go well. And this team, unfortunately, has a small margin for error right now. Right now they do. We'll see how the bye week plays out, how they can clean some things up and go from there. But they don't have a big margin for error.
No.
And, so a quarterback going on a 67-yard run, right, is crushing because your margin of error is always thin to begin with. And now you're working with your backup quarterback who doesn't have a lot of game experience. Right? Which then, again, decreases your margin of error. It's not Ethan's fault.
No.
I mean, Ethan was, I'd say, good.
Yeah, all things considered.
Right.
Tough environment, first start, absolutely.
I think he was good on, was he very good or great? No. He wasn't very good or great, but he was good. All right? That's for one start. He'll be better for it because he played a tough defense. Now he's going to play the best defense in the country coming up a week from Saturday. I think they're the best defense in the country.
Not even close.
And maybe maybe the next team after is right behind them. Indiana's played really, really well defensively. But he did play a tough defense the other night.
Yeah.
A team that normally doesn't beat itself.
Right.
They still put 24 points on the board and just missed by one drop of winning the game, actually.
Yeah.
Okay? Which would have been 4 touchdowns. I mean, all right. But when you have a small margin of error, a turnover feels fatal.
Yeah.
When you have a small margin of error and you've got to get a stop,
That's
right? And then all of a sudden the guy breaks a 67-yard run. You're like, oh.
Yeah.
Small margins of error put such pressure on a team. In football in recent years, since the start of the 2016 season, since the Minnesota game of 2016, for the most part, Penn State's played games where the margin of error was not that great until they got into, obviously, games with Michigan, Ohio State, the college football playoff games. The margin of error against SMU was, it's a playoff game.
Right.
Again, there's that tiny segment out there that just doesn't get at all how difficult it is to win. Oh, it was only SMU and Boise State. It was an easy path.
Winning's not.
It was an easy path. It's a playoff game. What do you mean an easy path? What's wrong with you?
Winning's never easy.
Right?
No, it doesn't matter.
What I'm saying, though, I think I look at people and go, you people baffle me. Yeah. It's a playoff game.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
The other team was not gifted a spot.
Right.
Okay, they earned it.
I think, and
right? But I'm saying, though,
yeah.
So you've got margins of error. Well, this team right now has a small margin for error where, it feels like any mistake, and I'm talking about the mental part of it. Here we go.
That's where I think it's becoming more and more. Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
And I've done games both sides, looking at teams.
Mm-hmm.
Where you'll be going along and the other team has a small margin for error, and then they make a mistake and you can see all the shoulders go down because they know they have a small margin for error.
Yeah.
And this is where they are right now.
Absolutely.
This is where they are. It's something that, everybody's talking about the psyche of the team, the locker room, The bottom line is you're playing the game.
Yeah.
And right now, with everything combined, they don't have a big margin for error.
No.
So it's not, you don't have to play perfect. You don't have to play perfect, right? But you have to have enough to, which they did in the game. They overcame mistakes.
Yeah.
You know, they just couldn't overcome the last one. And that was...
Yeah, I think if you look at the beginning of the year and you're to ask somebody 3 times, you're going to trust Penn State's defense to get a stop and they win this game.
Right.
I think more often than not, 3 out of 3, you're going to hear you absolutely get the stop. Unfortunately, just couldn't get the stop, and that's where the margin of error comes in.
Right.
You just right now this team, I think,
and I can't tell you how to overcome the margin.
No,
of error.
I can't either. And I think at this point, when you look at it, do they miss Tony Rojas on defense? Absolutely.
Sure.
There's no question.
Yep.
You miss a leader there. Absolutely.
Yep.
I think a big thing with the quarterback runs, it is out of position, no question. I think that's one thing that's noticeable, but the tackling's also noticeable. Right. I think you've got to tackle better. You've got to shore up there. I think that's the one thing. And you look at Pena's drop. The biggest thing for me is I think you're waiting for, and these receivers are great and capable of it. You're just waiting for the receivers. Absolutely. They all, and the same with
has
Ross,
a drop.
Hudson.
It's like,
Absolutely. You're just waiting for that. He makes that play. You get the psyche of, okay, receiver made a big play. I think that's what you're looking for with this team. And that's where I think it becomes mental as well, which is tough. It's very difficult to overcome. I think Terry Smith hit it right on the head with the first question he answered in the press conference. I can't remember who asked the question, but he said, gave everything they had. There was no one that didn't give great effort, just have to execute.
Yes.
And of course that's going to fall on Terry. Of course that's going to fall on coaching. There's no question.
Sure.
Terry Smith said as much, but that's the biggest thing, the execution right now. And the other thing is those big quarterback plays are something that, as a whole, that this team is lacking, and that's explosive plays. I think this team absolutely needs more explosive plays.
Penn State only had 2 explosive plays in the game on Saturday night.
Absolutely. That's one thing I think they're lacking. I think, and again, it all has to come together. The margin of error, I think you're absolutely 1,000% on it. It just gets that much smaller, especially when you've been in the spot before. I think is the biggest thing. The defense being the prime example. You've been in that spot 3 times. You've now lost 3 times. Yeah. You have to be careful. It doesn't become a mental issue where if you're in that spot again, that the fear is you're going to do it again. And that's where I think you have to overcome that. And it's easier said than done. That is on the players. It's difficult, and it's something they have to overcome.
They only had 1
on their own
for loss in the game.
Yeah.
Right. 1, maybe 2 tackles for losses. You know, defensively, you need more negative plays. They did get the interception by Wheatley, huge, which got them a touchdown. Great. All right. They blocked another kick. There have been 2 times in the history of Penn State football in 139 seasons where they've blocked a field goal and run it back for a touchdown. Marcus Allen, Grant Haley, Ohio State 2016, and Xavier Gilliam and Elliott Washington on Saturday night. Right?
Yeah.
They've blocked 3 punts this year. They've now blocked a field goal.
Special teams 3 games in a row now.
They've scored 14 points off on special teams.
Yeah. Had a big block the Northwestern game.
But that means you should be winning games.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's what drives you nuts because all 3 phases of the game are playing and you're still absolutely. That's the frustrating part of it.
That's just the hard part of it. It's like there's certain things that are happening that are winning plays.
Mm-hmm. And you're not winning games. Then that's absolutely.
I mean, look, that drive they had to get, that went 8 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, and you take the 2-score lead, something you've had the opportunity.
You're not on the road.
You've got to, absolutely.
Minutes plus, like 8:21 with the ball.
Quieted the crowd.
Scored.
And it's what, you look at back at.
That's a winning kind of drive.
Completely. You look back, too, at, it's hard to compare year to year. It just is. And it's not fair in a lot of ways. But you look back last year at what this team did when they had the lead. Just that physical, smash mouth, offensive line, dominate the line of scrimmage football. that won you games. You felt like you had that on that touchdown where Allen scored, that drive where Allen scores the touchdown, you go up 11. You just felt like the pendulum was swinging, and you give up the big play. I agree with you. It feels like when you have stuff like that, it feels like you should be winning games, and you're just not. That's the frustrating part of it.
Yeah, you get an interception, that's a winning play.
Mm-hmm. First turnover in the three,
But you get an interception, that's a winning play.
Huge.
It sets up a touchdown.
Yeah.
You have an 8-minute drive that scores for you on the road. Yeah. That's a winning drive.
You just physically tire the defense when you're pushing the line of scrimmage, too.
You block a field goal and run it back for a touchdown. Winning. Okay, those are all winning plays.
Absolutely.
Excuse me, my apologies. Those are all winning plays. Right. Unfortunately, the game, and Penn State had the ball 35 minutes in the game. Okay, Iowa only had one game all season where they had the ball fewer minutes than the opponent. Right? And they lost that game. I mean, Penn State had all, there's so many things that if you go into the game and you tell me that they are going to go, they're going to get an interception. Check. They're going to set it up for a touchdown. Check. They're going to get a blocked field goal for a touchdown. Check. Okay? You're going to have your own field goal. Boom. Check. Right? They're going to miss a field goal besides the block. Okay? Because Drew Stevens. Check.
Right. Yeah.
Right? You're going to have an 8-minute drive that scores points on the road in the second half of the game.
And give you a 2-score lead.
Give you a 2-score lead. Check.
Yeah.
Right? You check all these boxes and those are all winning plays.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to count on Gronowski running for 130 yards and running 67 yards on a play.
No.
Right? I'm not going to count on that. And yet they got it. And it's for whatever reason, some of the big determining plays in 3 of these 4 games have been quarterbacks making key runs at key times. And most of them have been on scrambles.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, you just got to fight your way out of it. It's the only way you can do it. Thanks for listening to Sports Talk with Steve Jones. Catch the latest from me on the 7 Mountain Sports YouTube page. Find clips of the show on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook by searching up 7 Mountain Sports.